what I thought I had to do in life, what I thought I had to do was go get this PhD so I can make maybe 6 figures, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? What I thought I had to do in life, God had another plan for me.
Yeah.
Where that maybe 6 figures turned into 200,000.
Oh, y'all know black men need to step it up.
Yep.
But in order for black men to step it up, black boys have to be poured into more.
There we go.
We have to address our mental health. We have to
Facts.
address our finances. We have to address our relationship health,
Facts.
our spiritual health, all of these different components. All right, boom. So let's jump into it.
Hey man, I look good on camera, man. I gotta make sure.
You cute. Nah.
That's what I'm saying. You know, I gotta, you know what I'm saying?
I gotta
be
represent,
cute,
let 'em see.
You know?
I just want to roast somebody, man. Hey, you gonna see me in some clips where it is. And I'm gonna tag you. Like, see, I told you.
Hey, make sure you tag Gary too.
It's gonna be the wrong font. It's gonna be one he done made up because he threw yours away.
All right, man. I'm sorry. You should let me come then, man. God, we gonna have fun on this show.
All right, look, y'all. So right now, the guest and Eric are both cracking on me. But we got to go ahead and get started with this episode. So we're clearly gonna have a lot of fun. So we hope y'all are gonna have a lot of fun. Y'all hear me cracking up right now. Hopefully y'all have as much fun with this episode as they're having right now. Not as I'm having, as they're having while they're cracking on me. Because this is gonna be a really informative conversation. This is honestly a conversation we've never had before. This is gonna be a really fun topic. Really informational. Man, okay, look. Look, make sure y'all tuning in. Also, make sure if y'all love me, y'all make some cracks at Eric and Cam, the guests that we have, they cracking on me. Anyway, y'all, look. We talk a lot about breaking the tech, scaling the tech, starting your own tech business. You all know, I always say that if there is, I say that the trinity of getting in the tech industry as well as scaling in your career is what? One, education and knowledge. That's whether it's a boot camp or college. So having that education. Two, having your LinkedIn set up properly, optimizing and utilizing your LinkedIn. And then three, networking. And I always recommend one of the best places to network at are tech conferences and events. The guest that we have today is the first time we've had someone on Tech as a New Black. I'm really excited about this conversation. Not only is this the first time we've had a guest on that's the founder of a very thriving, pun intended, tech event, but also I believe that the guest that we have today is the first time, they're the first person that offered me an opportunity to speak at their event.
Wow.
So this is really a really beautiful moment, especially this being our 1 year month anniversary with Tech as a New Black. And so really excited to have the guest on. As always, we're going to put respect on their name. So the guest today, Cam Ward, he is the founder and CEO of Black Men in Tech Incorporated. He is also a diversity executive in the tech space where he has designed and implemented comprehensive D&I strategies across the globe. Cam believes diversity can be achieved without commitment, but inclusion cannot. It requires a step beyond tolerance, vulnerability, and trust to create an inclusive environment. Cam has been recognized by Forbes as a Forbes, the Culture 50 Champions, Rising Star, and as a STEM influencer. His passion and purpose for inclusivity is fueled by the strides he has made to personally and professionally elevate underrepresented voices. Cam's personal mission is to prepare individuals to thrive in a diverse and interconnected world. Everybody, give a virtual round of applause, drop some fire emojis, bomb emojis, hand clapping emojis, tap your steering wheel if you're driving in a car. For the guest that we have today, Cam Ward, also known as the founder of Black Men in Tech and Thrive Conference. Cam, bro, thank you so much for being on here.
Hey, man, first of all, I want to thank y'all for the invite. I didn't know it'd been 1 year, so congrats to you all and the entire team for the work y'all doing. Absolutely amazing to be here, brother. It's been a long time coming. I absolutely love what you're doing, love what you bring into the tech space and the way you're bringing it. So I'm going to give you your flowers too, man, because the work is many and there's a lot of work to be done, man. It take all of us doing it from our different angles.
Facts.
So I appreciate you. I appreciate being here on the 1 year because I remember when you launched this thing.
Yeah, man.
So I'm really excited just to be in the space, man. Your team is phenomenal. You know you got a good people around you, so man, keep that up.
Oh, appreciate that. Who being professional now?
Hey,
who being professional now?
We gonna get on you.
Oh, y'all get on me? No, I love it, bro. No, I appreciate all that. Just like you mentioned, and this also resonates for those of y'all that are listening and watching. It really does take all of us.
Yeah.
All of us are hitting it from different angles.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that we can collaborate in different ways, come together is a beautiful thing. And at the end of the day, it's all about helping us be both impactful in this space as we are all being impacted by this industry. So I love it. I love it. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So first off, our first time meeting in person was it was at your conference. No. Was that your? Yeah, it was at your conference. That was our first time meeting in person.
Yep.
And so first we connected just through text in a group, and I was able to meet you at your Thrive conference,
right?
Which was a really incredible conference, very well put together, very well ran. Had some dope different tech companies that were there, and I didn't find out until being there that was your first time having an in-person event.
Yeah.
And it was like a really nice event. I've been to some tech events where it's not their first time.
I appreciate it.
And it was nowhere near as nice as that.
Yeah.
So, bro, I want to know from your perspective, though, because, whenever we're doing stuff, sometimes we're kind of in the weeds and things like that.
Of course.
Just from your perspective, how was it like having that first in-person event for you?
Yeah, so we did. It wasn't called Thrive then the first year that we did it because what I realized shortly after building Black Men in Tech, I wanted to do a conference that June, right? So, you tell your homeboys like, hey, I want to do a conference. Yeah. My homeboy said, yeah, maybe in 2 years. And I'm like, what? I'm like, why would I wait 2 years to do something we could do right now? Yeah. So I incorporated that January. That first June 19th was a Saturday. I'm like, I'm throwing a conference here. It's going to be free. I had no clue how I was going to get this done. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to make it virtual because I know we're in a pandemic still. Yeah. So we did that. And I actually had Tristan Walker as a speaker. 2 Chainz were our speaker and that sort of thing. I made it for free. 7,000 people showed up, right? Outside of the pandemic now, I'm like, oh, we got to do this again in person. Yeah. Right? So we turned around. I reached out to Sire, couple months. He ignored my DM. But
I didn't see the DM. Let's be clear.
Bro hit me back 2 weeks before conference. Like, I ain't see it.
I ain't see this message, man.
Good. Yeah, I ain't see it. Even though it said red.
I'm dead.
No, but anyways, yeah, bro. But it was about the connection piece. So we did in person. I said, okay, still not knowing, but knowing that we need to have it. Black men need to be able to connect in a space where we can talk about things that resonate with us, right? It was one thing to do it virtually, it's another to connect in person. Yes. And now that, CDC lifted all the rules and, we were able to congregate, I was like, why not? So we got in the room and I said, I want to do it in person. And I have a beautiful team, man, that go along with my wild vision sometimes. Yeah. And they tame me, but it's like they know the vision is there. So we sat down, we said we was going to do it, and we did it. Yeah. And it was really cool because then I connected with brothers like you. I connected with sisters that were on panels and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And it was like, it's a thing. Like, just like we support every other minority group, we can support Black men. Yes. Because sometimes we get left out of the conversation because we're men. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. So we always have a voice here. And sometimes we be in rooms and spaces where we don't. So this allowed us to talk about mental health, physical health. This allowed us to talk about, things that impacted our family. We talked about the intersectionality of queerness. Like what groups are talking about that consistently and making sure we show up for everybody. So that's how we started it, man. And it was just, honestly, it was just out of pure vision and saying we need to do it. So we need to make it happen.
Yo, that's so beautiful, and I love that you mentioned that. One thing that I want to say as a spectator of the conference and being there last year, and I want to clear this up because I know different questions that people have. One thing I want to address is that even though it's Black Men in Tech, even though it's something that are addressing some things that men deal with, it's very much so in favor of women and Black women as well. You had a plethora of some juggernaut women speakers that were there.
And they come with it. They come with it.
You had a couple women that were speaking there that were so incredible. I ended up bringing them on the podcast. They've been on the podcast now.
And that's the thing. The reason why I call it Black Men in Tech is because I wanted the world to know Black men run this nonprofit. point blank.
Yeah.
You know, but the
It's
reason
important.
why we exist is because we want to elevate the voice of black men and also assist in the journey of black people in
Yeah.
the tech space in all different levels, including our students,
Yeah.
right? The next generation of tech leaders. It's only so cool to keep switching jobs. You got to build something with students.
Yeah.
So a part of our whole mission is the care pillar, which we have 3, but the care pillar is about making sure the next generation of tech leaders are equipped with the tools they need to be successful.
Yeah.
You don't know how many schools we walked into and they don't have headphones, but they got standardized tests that need headphones.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man,
You know, they
that's
don't
crazy.
have the teachers don't have the necessary computers they need to be successful, but they expect it too, right? So those things are important as well as we, make that transition. But to your point, man, Black Men in Tech is open for everybody. 13% of our individuals that's in our community are women.
Yeah.
And everybody has their space.
Yeah, no, I love it so much, and it's really important. One thing that I think most people, and maybe not most people, but just from my vantage point, is that one, we champion there being spaces, rooms, things for women, especially women of color. But one of the things that I don't think people notice, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, is how there aren't any initiatives or support for black men specifically. There are things that are for black people,
Right.
and there are things that are for black women.
Right.
But there's nothing that's for black men.
Right.
And one of the things that I think is valuable to have things that are catering or having a bit of a proclivity for black men is that at the end of the day, when we look at whether we're talking the black community, just as a whole, one of the great failures that we're seeing is that we are failing when it comes to having black men being leaders and being in position of leadership, being in position of So this isn't the conversation is where what we're talking about is saying, yo, we need black men. We all know black men need to step it up.
Yep.
But in order for black men to step it up, black boys have to be poured into
Boom.
more.
There we go.
We have to address our mental health. We have to
Facts.
address our finances. We have to address our relationship health,
Facts.
our spiritual health, all of these different components. And so that's why it's really important, because at the end of the day, the failure of the black community does fall on the heads of men. And so as we start to work on helping, assisting the growth of men, the health of men, naturally we will see a transition in the health of the black community. So I love so much with what Black Men in Tech is doing, with Thrive Conference, all of that. Love it so much. But all right, so let's keep going, because I can see myself trickling, going deep down in that rabbit hole. So we'll talk a little bit more about how you started the conference later. But first, let's talk about what is your background before you got in tech, and how did you go about breaking into the tech industry?
Yeah, so I love to tell the story because my tech journey was on accident. I had no clue what tech was.
Whoa.
Had no clue. Had absolutely. So I'm a diversity and inclusion practitioner.
Okay.
So when I started out, I was in higher education doing diversity work. So after I graduated from the University of Maryland, at my grad school, I said I want to help people that look like me get to school. So okay, we get them to college. We got the African American female program, we got the African American male program, we got all these programs, and then I realized 4 years later, well, where do they go? 5 years later, where do they go? I get a new batch, right?
Man.
So then I said, okay, I'm going to continue on this path, and I'm going to be a director or a leader on campus in diversity work. I was doing that for a while. Then I said, you know what? I'm gonna be a chief diversity officer in the higher ed space. You know what I'm saying? So I did that. I was on some interviews and I did some cool stuff and I met some cool universities. But the knock on me is that I didn't have a PhD. Now, to sit on the president cabinet at any university, most likely you have to have a PhD. I didn't have one. I had a master's. I went to some really cool schools. So I committed to going to get a PhD full time. Now, when you leave a job to go work as a GA, your money different.
Yeah.
So I had about 15 jobs.
Man.
Listen, I worked as a consultant at one university. I worked at FedEx. I worked at UPS. I was loading planes. I was loading trucks, bro. I'm getting it. Like, I got to figure this out. And then I was working at FedEx. I was working overnight, loading the planes. And I'm fascinated by planes. So it's by far, to this day, one of my favorite jobs in the world. And my manager, who was former military, he came to me one night and said, Cam, why are you here? And I said, what do you mean? He said, Cam, you're the smartest person in this whole warehouse. You got multiple degrees. You da-da-da-da-da. He goes, why are you here? He goes, because when you out there loading the plane, nobody even know you have 2 degrees. Man. And I was like, why would I tell them? Like, we side by side. We throwing boxes. Why do I care? And he said, have you ever heard of diversity work, like in the corporate space? And I said, what's that? He said, I'm going to introduce you to some people. Now, mind you, this is my manager at FedEx overnight. So he said, I'm going to introduce you to the FedEx diversity team.
Wow.
And he introduced me. I talked to him. I was like, oh, this could be a thing. 2 weeks later, I had a phone call with Indeed. And then a month later, I moved out to Austin, where it was my first tech job. I had no clue about tech before I got into tech. So I tell that story because I tell people all the time, be mindful of every situation you in, because you never know when that situation is for you.
Ooh,
if I never worked at FedEx, I would not ever be in tech.
Whoa.
But because my manager had enough in me, and mind you, I had 2 degrees. I'm supposed to be the smarter one. Well, he sat me down and said, hey, have you ever heard of this angle? And because I was ready and teachable and was able to learn, and we had true pedagogy moments where he taught me and I taught him, and we was able to receive, he introduced me to a world I never knew about.
Wow.
And because of that, that's how I fell into the tech space.
Man, that's so incredible. One of the things that I'm thinking about as I'm hearing that is how it's like, man, oftentimes people are praying for some type of change. Like someone might be in a situation or might be in a certain job, and they're like praying for some change. And I could imagine you in that time in life. And again, you were enjoying it,
but
nevertheless, part of what had to happen, this is an assumption that I have. Let me know if I'm right or wrong. But that oftentimes when people are working at a company, even if whether they like the company or they don't, but they want some type of change or some type of elevation, many times they're not even being a good steward over that work. And I've never seen a manager ever, because the fact that he felt that what you were doing was beneath you was evidence that he saw you doing the job well. But he's like, yo, you're worth so much more.
And you know how wild that is, right? So let's double tap into this for a second. You know how wild that is, because I absolutely love planes. So me loading planes at 1 a.m., I was having fun. It was a thankless job for me, because it was like I'm in class all day, I'm writing papers, I'm getting this PhD. So I'm busting my brain mentally. So I go at night, put on my sweats and throw boxes, line up carts. Like I'm having fun, you know what I'm saying? And when he came to me, he said, he looked at me, he said, come here. It was like 3 a.m. He said, come here. I said, what's up? Because me and him was doing the double. I didn't mind doing doubles there. FedEx is probably, I promise you, one of my favorite jobs I ever had in life.
He like a kid in a candy store right now.
So we loading the plane, loading the 747 for it to take off. So I'm excited. And here's the lesson in that though. What I thought I had to do in life, what I thought I had to do was go get this PhD so I can make maybe 6 figures, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? What I thought I had to do in life, God had another plan for me where that maybe 6 figures turned into 200,000.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, more. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Turned into more stock options, turned into more more. I would have never thought about it on my own.
Yeah.
Because I had a plan. Go get this degree. Go be a chief diversity. Maybe brush 120. Yeah. Maybe. And now I'm in situations where we're talking about quarter $250,000. Yeah. Like it's way different. But I wouldn't put myself there.
Yeah.
So that's why I tell people you got to be in position.
Yeah.
And you got to be lined up and you got to be ready. Because if you're not ready for it, it'll pass you by.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
That's incredible.
Yeah, all facts, man.
I love it. I love it, bro. Yo, so for everybody that's interested in what this guest is talking about and you would love a similar career, I suggest you check out Course Careers Bootcamp. Course Careers is a boot camp that I have been partnered with for well over a year now, and they have helped more people break into tech, I'll be honest, than any other boot camp that I've personally seen. So look, Course Careers is only $500. That's it. Now, they're a self-paced boot camp that you can take and be able to get a variety of different roles in tech. So make sure you check them out. Use our link below and you'll get an additional $50 off. So that way all you pay is actually $449. That's it. No additional price later, no extra costs, extra fees. That's it with the price for Course Careers. And keep us posted on your journey breaking into tech. All right, so look, so what is DEI, or diversity, equity, inclusion? And also talk about when that became an in-demand role. I ain't gonna say just in the tech industry,
just period.
But just period.
Yeah. Just,
like when did it become an in-demand role? And also, what is that?
So diversity could be labeled so many different letters, right? It's like alphabet soup. It's like you want to be super inclusive with diversity, but when you boil it down, diversity is a space where you want to acknowledge people, you want to engage people that's not the majority, whatever the majority may be, and you want to make sure they're celebrated and supported, right? If you boil it down to whatever you want to call some people call it diversity, inclusion, belonging. Some people call it allyship in action. You know, JEDI is a thing, justice, education, some other.
JEDI, I never hear about that one.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of letters, man. But all it really means, honestly, is you want people to see you and recognize you for you as an individual.
Yeah.
Right. Support you. Understand that there are some things that systematically you at a disadvantage. Yeah. You know, and it's not necessarily you versus me, but it's also the system working how the system works. If the system was never designed for you, it's never going to work for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So diversity is supposed to combat that with the celebration, with the education, with the knowledge, with the opportunity for individuals to be themselves and feel like they're in a place where they belong. Yeah. I said in the bio that diversity can be achieved without even thinking about it. Us in this room now, this room is diverse. We didn't try. You know, we just all had something in common. We wanted a podcast. Yeah. I was invited. You know, your staff is here. We're a diverse room. We didn't try to do that.
That's real.
But if we want to be inclusive, it's going to take a step beyond tolerance. Ooh. We got to learn each other. We got to talk. There's trust involved, right? So diversity is, in my opinion, and some people may say, oh, it's not. In my opinion, diversity is easy. Is you invite enough students that got free pizza, you gonna have a diverse room.
Yeah, true.
Free T-shirt, you're gonna have enough room. But if you want to be inclusive, now I gotta talk to you. Yeah. I gotta trust you. I gotta open up to you, right? It's the step beyond tolerance. Diversity is tolerance. I can tolerate you in the space. I don't never got to interact with you. I can tolerate you.
Yeah.
But inclusion is that next step. So what people are trying to achieve now is this onus and this thought process about where you belong in the space. You could be your authentic self and no one is going to judge you for it. Now, that's not very much true. People still gonna judge you no matter what, because we're stereotypical by nature. Like, it's in us.
Yeah, we're humans.
We're human. It's like air. You breathe it. You're going to stereotype people, but what you do after you stereotype them, tell them who you are as an individual.
That's real.
If you let yourself not interact with somebody based on something that you preconceived thought about, then that's where the problem lies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to do it. Like, think about the last movie you watched last night, and then you saw somebody walk, you're like, oh, well, I saw them, and you know, you make an assumption, right?
Oh, yeah.
But if you let that assumption drive your interaction, then that's where the problem lies.
Yeah,
that's what we try to change in diversity work. Now, diversity got its highs and lows, and, you know, sometimes it's at its peak. Think about, summer 2020 and everything that happened with police brutality, and, the Asian hate, when Asian individuals are getting, beat up in public just because, right? So it has its highs when it's truly highlighted. Then it has its valleys, right? When it's not really a thing anymore, right? Yeah. In the public eye, everybody after summer 2020 made some type of plans, like, oh, I'm gonna do this and that in the community and whatever. And it's cute for a while.
Yeah. Right? For a minute.
But the commitment to it, because you see when the layoffs happen, you see what happened first.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There was things like quiet reductions that everybody don't know about when you're not one of the top companies, that you see first in, first out. All the commitments to hiring Black and brown individuals, women, and all minorities, now they getting being pushed out first. You see on LinkedIn, them joints go from purple to green, open and work, and you see a lot of them look like us.
Ooh.
Right? So it has its highs and lows. The consistency, though, and the appreciation is with organizations that continue to do the good work, no matter the season, right? Because everything got a season. So no matter the season, when they continue to do the good work, that's when you find the true companies that's really behind this diversity journey.
It made me think about like churches too, how they claim to be like multicultural churches, but there's no, let's say if it's a white church, there's no black leader on staff. So it's like you're really not multicultural. You just
sound good.
Yes, it sounds good, but it goes, like you said, it goes beyond you just acknowledging it, but actually having conversations and trusting people to lead in spaces as opposed to just having them around.
Yep. So think about this too. Like everybody's okay with anything until that makes them uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
So
that's real.
So think about it in the form of diversity, right? You work for a company, you with an organization, no matter the organization, and everybody is okay with it. And it's fine. Throw money at it. Throw people, throw budget, throw individuals until it makes you uncomfortable. And when it makes you uncomfortable, now it's a sandpaper moment. Now you got to make a decision. Are you gonna live in your uncomfort and grow? Because that's what happens when you're uncomfortable. You grow as an individual, right? When I don't know personally, but I hear when women are pregnant, right? It's a lot of uncomfortable situations going on as the baby is growing. Yeah. So you use that in life as you're uncomfortable, right? You're growing. Yeah. Right? But if you're uncomfortable and you're the leader and you're the person with the budget and you're the money man and you're the money woman, and it makes you uncomfortable, you can shut it down and it'll be done.
Yeah, that's true.
So are you okay with being comfortable is the question. At any space.
Ooh, talk about it.
That's so real. Hey y'all, we have some incredible news that I'm super excited about to finally announce our private tech community. Yes, you heard that right. A private tech community exclusively for you all who want more than just the podcast. You want more than just the FAQs. You want to talk with tech recruiters. You want to talk with hiring managers. You want to talk with coaches. You want to talk with people that can help with editing and rewriting your resume. Maybe you're somebody where you just want to be a part of a community where we're talking about updates of what's happening in the software industry. Y'all, this community that we've launched is also going to involve a Discord where we're going to be talking about updates in tech. We're going to be talking about companies that are hiring. We're going to be talking about upcoming tech events. So that way you don't have to miss any of the gems that I know, but not even just what I know, but the gems that friends of mine that are also in the tech industry know as well. So if you want to be a part of that community, go ahead and sign up so that way you can join us. We have a few different tiers. Ultimately, it's all tuned in for you. Oh, and last thing, also within this community, we're going to be streaming all of our interviews with our podcast guests. So instead of you having to wait months to watch the videos later on, you will actually be able to watch the interviews in real time and ask your live questions to those guests. So make sure you join our tech community. Man, yo, he's spitting right now. Let us know in the comments what y'all thoughts are based on whether your experience or what you've seen, especially those of you that have been in tech already. Yeah. Those of y'all, especially even before the pandemic or around the time of the pandemic, like those of y'all that saw the huge spike in the DEI space, right, and companies all seeming that I'm not going to say seeming, but companies vocally sharing that they cared about these things. Yeah. Have you noticed a shift at all? And that's so, a real question. Yeah, and also for any founders that are watching this, again, as we know, things are going to constantly happen. It depends on what all the news wants to highlight. Yes. Things are going to come up again, especially depending on the political climate and election season. Things are going to be highlighted. And maybe you want to make sure that you're not caught with your pants down. Maybe you want to make sure that you're not one of the companies that has to say, oh, let's restart a program. Right. Because then maybe people can accuse you of you just trying to tailgate, or you trying to just want to show you care about something when it's cool. And so, but we got a lot more to talk about. So what I'm curious about, so you got into tech, you became a DEI officer, leader. Where from there, what from there led you to start Black Men in Tech and then eventually the Thrive Conference? Now, we talked a little bit about what made you think, oh, I want to do a conference. Yeah. So really, let's talk about just you starting Black Men in Tech in general.
Yeah, so I was diversity officer at a company, and I went to my leader, and I told my leader, and when you first get a job, your leader is super hey man, if you ever need me, I'm here for you. Come tell me anything. And black people sometimes, and I'm generalizing, so please tell me if I'm wrong. Black people sometimes be looking at you like this because they like, man, I don't know about that. You don't want me
like you really mean that?
Yeah. You really want me to bring my real self to work? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll give you 75%. I ain't gonna give you all of it.
Can't give you 100.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what you want me to bring? You want? At least I listen to Jason Aldean too, but I also listen to Drake. So what's up? What part you want?
Yeah.
So we had that discussion, as he understood the diversity landscape and where he was. So I went to him and I said, hey, listen, I was in some meetings and it was some stuff that happened prior to me getting this role over the summer, and I was in some meetings. I said, hey, listen, I'm going to start an organization called Black Men in Tech. I said, I don't want no interference with my job, so I'm letting you know, right? I went to him just like that. I said, I'm going to test him. He said, bring it to him. So I said, I'm going to start. I said, I don't know what it's going to be. I said, I started out, and I didn't know what it's going to be, but I'm going to do this thing. First thing he said to me was, how can I support you?
Yeah.
And I said, wasn't expecting that one. But he hit me with that, right? And he was true to form. So I started Black Men in Tech. I called 8 of my buddies from around the world, all in different verticals. And I said, hey, man, I got to stop. I said, I'm in these spaces, in these meetings, probably the only one look like me. If we're not talking about sports, I'm lost in the conversation. I don't watch the same shows. I don't do the same things, whatever. And I was like, is it me or is it all of us? And they go, bro, it's all of us. So we hopped on a call and we just started talking, chatting, right? It's 8 of us just chatting. It was an hour and a half conversation, beautiful conversation. It was good, right? Next week, I was like, man, we should do this again, man. Let's do it again. Next week, we got on, that 8 turned into about 30. Okay, man, what am I gonna do with all these people? So we still chatting, and the conversation getting lost now because so many people on the call. About a month and a half later, it was like 300.
Wow.
So I go, we got to do something with this thing, right? So what I found out though, I start with a topic and we end up somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we was talking about family. We was talking about supporting Black women because at that time Black women was taking a hit, as far as everything, like not feeling supported. Yeah. So we hold a conversation about that. We talking about, we got fellows on the line talking about, well, how I get into tech? Well, I'm interested in tech. Then we started breaking down into breakout rooms. Bro, it just got big, and it was just like, all right, well, we're going to continue to do this thing. We're going to continue to work this thing. And from there, I was like, okay, we got to start a nonprofit because we here talking to each other. All of us in the tech space are trying to get in tech space, but what about the students? What about the kids? What about the youth?
Yeah.
How they going to see people that look like us walk into a space and say, you know what, tech is an option. Balling is an option. The streets is an option. Mm-hmm. We got so many different options. Well, why can't tech be an option? And tech from different landscapes, because everybody ain't no systems engineer. I know I'm not.
Yeah,
y'all,
true that.
Listen, y'all go to talking and that A++.
A++.
Listen, I'm completely lost, but it's I'm in the tech space and I work in HR. I work in diversity. Mm-hmm. You in the tech space, you work in sales. You in the tech space, you in product. Mm-hmm. You in marketing. Whatever. I tell people all the time, whatever talent you have, bring it to tech and get that bag.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's transferable skill across the board. Yeah. So not only are we having internal conversations, now we're having external conversations and inspiring other people to get into the tech space, and that's how I got founded, man. Like pure hearted. That's what we needed to do for the community, man.
Bro, that's incredible how that started.
Yeah, just organically, just like seriously, like it was no plan for it. Absolutely no. It was like, I'm going to do this thing, and I want to make impact in the community.
And how long ago was it when that eight of y'all were having that phone conversation?
2.5 years ago. Man, November will be 3 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's 12,000 of us now.
Wow.
In over 20 countries.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You said 20 countries around the world?
Yeah, it's over 20 countries. 12,000 of us. Yeah. Organically it happened. Like to the point where, and being 100% transparent, because I feel like this is a safe space for me. Yeah. Like to the point where our community is asking me to start a membership portal because they want to be members, and we're gonna launch it soon. But I'm like, I'm gonna do what y'all want me to do because it's not for me. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not my thing. It's our thing. So whatever y'all want, they like, Cam, launch a membership. Cam, we want to continue to help you. Cam, we want to continue to fund you so you don't have to pitch so much, that sort of thing. Yeah. And I'm like, But they see the work because we go build tech labs at Florida Memorial University in partnership with Ted Lucas and Technology. You know, we're going to build another gaming center at another elementary school. So it's about pouring back into what we're doing. Yeah. And it's not for us. You know what I'm saying?
It's incredible.
It's for all of us. It's for everybody. It's for us to have a space.
Whoa.
Bro, that's good.
Hey, man, we're doing the work, bro.
That's good, bro. I love it. Man, I love what you're doing so much. 2.5 years ago, started with 8 men. Yeah. Now, over 20,000.
Over 12,000 in 20 countries.
Okay, over 12,000 in 20 countries?
Yeah, 20 countries.
Bro, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, so...
They're trying to get us to come to London and Amsterdam next year. We'll see.
Oh, man.
Let's go.
Yeah,
let's go.
We'll see. Hey, let's go, man. I'm all the way here for it, man.
Let's
so, look.
Go.
So, Thrive Conference, I was there last year.
Mm-hmm.
It was incredible. I was there, and I was like, man, this is fire.
Yeah.
And I was like going around, I was making content. I was like, man, it's like these different tech companies here. Yeah. And I'm looking at them, and I'm like, yo, this is like really dope.
Yeah.
One of the things we noticed, we had our podcast in the Sky event last December. It was really great. Tickets sold out way faster than we expected. It was a really dope event. One of the things that we were talking about as a team, we're like, okay, look, we want to do another event. It's like, we don't want to like let everybody come. We like things being semi-intimate, just a few hundred people.
Yeah.
But we're like, yo, one of the things that we want to do is have like sponsors that are there.
Mm-hmm.
And we noticed we're really good. Like my team and I, like we all met actually doing events. Like Eric's bread and butter is like he's an event like director, videographer. Like that's really where he shines. It's crazy. I've never seen a better like just video from an event than from when Eric does it.
He trying to save you from getting on them later.
That's hilarious. Eric is fired. Yeah. And Rhea, who's she's the production manager or manager of operations, what we do. She's not here today. But Rhea, you know, she partnered with us with events that we used to do. Yeah. So it's all we do events and things like that. But I was like, you know what? We've never like gotten real sponsors.
Yeah.
You know, we've got like the vendors and stuff like that, but never real sponsors.
Yeah.
And you know, I ended up hitting you up.
Yeah.
And we had a brief conversation. We have to have a follow up to that.
I'm glad he's called it out. Cause I was going to call him out.
Hey, get him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. We had a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I spoke to the team about it, and I was like, man, like Cam like really knows his stuff when it comes to sponsors, specifically tech sponsors, and which makes sense because at your event you had some amazing sponsors at Thrive. Mm-hmm. Can you please share for the people, because there are people listening right now and there are people thinking like, man, like I would love to eventually, or maybe some people right now that are already doing events. Right. And they're like, yo, how do you get, because you know everybody knows how to get a vendor. You can get a vendor and pay a few $100 or $1,000 to like give them a table.
Yeah.
But it's like to have a lot of y'all might not know. I ain't gonna go too deep into the weeds. You know what? I'm gonna let you go and
let them talk.
Weeds.
Let them cook.
Some of these tech companies, and I'm gonna start it, and you can go further in the weeds.
Okay, cool.
Some of the tech companies, and I've seen it because I've looked at what it costs to be a sponsor at different events, and I mean just for like a little 4x4 table, sometimes it's like $15,000.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've seen some things where like it's $150,000. And I've went to events and I'm like, oh, I've seen the tech companies there. So I'm like, ooh, they paying this money. Yeah. So first off, just from your vantage point, from what you know about, what are some of the biggest numbers that you know of that tech companies have paid to be sponsors somewhere?
Right.
But then also, how does somebody go about getting sponsors at their event?
No, that's perfect. So, hey, you did wonderful on that segue. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You
slid right in there.
Okay, cool.
All right, check it out. So, I look at a lot of different partner packages, and as a diversity officer, of course, a lot of people pitch to me as well. So, the biggest sponsorship I ever seen on a tech conference was $2.3 million.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
to be a sponsor at an event.
Now, granted, they got everything.
Oh
they
yeah,
wanted.
you got to roll out the red carpet,
and it was one of the top conferences and events in the world.
Yeah,
but 2.3 is the largest.
Sheesh.
It's the largest I've ever seen.
Ooh.
Right?
2.3 million.
Yeah, that's just you got like 2 of those titles. And then you got the other stuff that comes.
I'm about to say, that's just one at a conference.
Right.
There's still more.
Right.
And then
there's more.
There's just one.
But wait, there's more.
Right,
That's crazy.
Right. So that's the biggest like package I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But how you get sponsors? One thing that I do that's really important is that you have to build a relationship and be consistent.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people go pitch a conference or pitch a space and that sort of thing, and they'll go, well, what makes you different from X? Or why should I sponsor you? Right.
Yeah.
You have to have a niche. You can't have something that everyone has. Right.
Yeah.
Now, granted, in the black, it's black conference season right now, so we all going to.
Yeah.
You know how I go. Everybody go to each other's conference, hopefully support and collaborate. But what you do is you find that differentiator that makes you a bit different.
Yeah.
That gives you a niche. Not that you're competing for dollars, but you're collaborating with dollars. Because
I love that.
Because when one group do good, all groups do.
Yes.
Right. So if someone asks you, well, how I got $1, why should I give you this $1 and not this conference? What I would tell them immediately was split that $1 by 4 and give a piece to everybody. Right.
Ooh.
And that's important because there's never competition. There should be always collaboration.
Facts.
So when you have these type of pitch meetings, make sure you show up with energy, make sure you show up informative, like with your information, and make sure you understand your ask.
Yes.
If you do those 3 things, then that way the company and you are very firm on what I'm gonna get out of this and what you're gonna bring to the table.
Yeah.
And then when a scout, because they send scouts to your conferences or your event to make sure it is what it is. So when they get there, you roll out the red carpet. You show them a good time. Mm-hmm. You make sure they always get what they need, because then they're going to invest in you.
Yeah.
My sponsors, I feel as though, invest in our product, but they first have to believe me.
Yes.
Right? And if they do not believe me, then they're not going to invest in anything I do.
Yeah, that's real.
You feel me? Like a lot of people get caught up, and I end with this note. A lot of people get caught up in the fact that you need thousands of sponsors. No, you need about 10 consistent people that's going to support you every year.
Yeah.
Because if everyone give you $100K, that's $1 million.
Yeah. That's
you feel
real.
me? So instead of trying to go wide, go deep.
Yes.
Go deep with the people that you know that are going to support you. Go deep with the sponsors that you know you can text. Go deep with where you building partnerships, right? Where you getting people hired and supporting people and having awesome events. You don't need 10,000 sponsors. You need 10.
Yes.
I'm always pushing 10 because I want everybody to get $1 million.
Yeah.
You get to that $1 million, you should be good.
Bro, that's so beautiful you say that. One of my friends, Tori Porter, who's been a guest on Tech is the New Black. He's a founder of Fintology AI. He always says, I would rather have 100 people that love me than have 1,000 people that like me.
Yeah. Spades all day long. Especially when you're in the game of trying to get sponsorship, because you got to think about it. There's millions of events, right? There's millions of company, especially when you're a minority event. If you're an event, a conference, a mixer, or whatever, like, you're always under the scope. So when you're under the scope, you got to make sure you're adding value.
Yeah.
And adding value usually mean add people, to their pipelines. Have qualified candidates that can fill their roles.
Yeah.
Right? That's what the end game is mostly. Yeah. Right? Or exposure, but you gotta be on some Cyrus stuff, have like millions of followers and stuff. So for companies to wanna be with you, so you have to build trust and you have to build a great relationship.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how I found myself being successful with pitching the companies that having sponsors, is that the ones that I have, I text them. We have threads, like they become part of. They're not just. It's not just business. It's more so, I get to know them. They get to know me, and then we ride together. Yeah. And that's how I treat them, and they know. When I show up, I'm gonna show up correct. Yeah. I'm gonna make sure you get hires. I'm gonna make sure you do the thing. I'm gonna do what I say, and that's what's important, man. The authenticity is important when you're pitching to people.
Man, I believe that, because the way, of course, I don't know the behind the scenes. But just from what I saw, I've been to events where even though I didn't know the behind the scenes, I saw enough that I was like, I I don't think these vendors and sponsors are happy with the deal that they got.
Oh, and they'll tell you.
Man.
I've been to events where they'll be like, "Hey, Kim," I'm like, "Nah, don't do that." That's right, because why are you telling me your war stories? Like, you know, but and then you get into comparison things, and I will tell you this, and anybody that says, listen, when someone else tries to compare an organization to each other, stop it dead in its tracks, because that's not what it's meant to be. We're not, as black people, as minorities, meant to be pit to get against each other.
Yeah, that's right.
So when they come to you, right, and just leave it alone, because you never know what you're messing up for yourself trying to engage in that type of conversation.
True.
So I stay collaborative, man. And when people talk, have a good time, I just say, listen, here's the deal. I'm excited to be here. Yeah, and I hope you are too.
I love it.
You feel me? I can't be bothered with that. You know what I'm saying?
Cool. That's important. That's important to have that stance. And likewise, I think everyone else should as well, because you never know where your career in tech can take you, and you might want an opportunity somewhere. Yep. Your career can shift. A lot of y'all might be thinking, "Oh, like I'll never be a speaker or influencer or whatever." Who knows what God might call you to do 100%. In the next year? But if your actions, the things you're posting on social media, how you're engaging, how you're talking about people, those things can come back to bite you or even hinder you in the future. Yep. So always be mindful of how you're moving. Make sure you listen to the things that Cam just said, to make sure that you're following suit. So, all right, man. So we got to talk about this, and this is where we get into like a real part. So we want more black men and more black women in the tech industry. And right now we have a lot of different resources. We have communities like Black Men in Tech. We have conferences like Thrive, like Render, Afrotech, a variety of others. We have podcasts, Tech is the New Black, Big Tech Energy, Deeper Than Code, that's about to drop, and a few others. We have boot camps, all these different things. Do you believe? And I gotta read it how I got it down. I gotta say it how I have it down.
Say it like I read it.
For real. Is there no longer an excuse that we black people can use as to why we can't get in tech, or we think we don't fit in tech?
That's a real deep question. Is there no longer excuse? There's always opposition. So I would say, I don't know if it's an excuse, but I would say there's always disadvantages.
Yeah.
Because of the systematic oppression that started way before us. We could take it all the way back to the slave days, right? Certain things was kept from us because they know we would be great at it, right? And because of that, the access and opportunity and openness and education is something that still hinder us today, right? Like, we talking about 2018, and I didn't even know tech was a thing. Right? And that's just a few years ago. Yeah. Right? And I'm educated. I got 2 degrees. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's 2 more than me.
Right. And I still didn't know. Yeah. Right? So I think there's always, I think we need to exist, the ecosystem. Yes. The conferences, the boot camps, the podcasts, the influencers, all of that. I think we need to exist in a collaborative way, because we need to continue to make sure everyone knows it's an option, right? Like, for instance, I know some fellas and some cats that follow you just because they like the way you articulate the tech space to them. It resonates with them. Yeah. Now, these cats probably would never, ever be in a space where they understood tech if it wasn't for your Instagram post. You feel me? True, yeah. So I don't know if it's not an excuse, but there's opportunity because of open access and education that needs to be had further in the black community that understand that why tech is an option. For instance, I was talking to a group of students and they go, "Man, tech ain't for me because I'm not an engineer." And I go, whoa, right? But they don't know. So they don't know. Yeah. I'm like, bro, I'm in tech and I have no clue what engineer. And they go, really? Now, yeah, so I think every opportunity we can get to ensure that individuals know that tech is an option is important.
Yeah.
Is an excuse? I think it's more so opportunities that we need to uncover. That's why the ecosystem need to stand up, right?
Yeah.
That's why the Renders, the Afrotech, the Thrive, the Tech is the New Black, all the podcasts, all that. We need to keep reaching, man, because we're so far behind, right? Just think about it. Like, civil rights happened, just a few years back, a few decades back, so we're still trying to figure it out. And on that journey, we don't got hip to tech. We don't got hip to, what's that sport, lacrosse? Bro,
true.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? We getting exposed. Tennis, come on, we taking over tennis, Coco them. Like, you feel me? So we're getting into spaces now that we weren't necessarily allowed to before. And guess what black people do when we dominate?
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah, that's
just
right.
like we dominate football and basketball. So therefore, if we continue to grind, all us band together in our own separate ways to make sure people know about tech, we're going to dominate that too.
That's right.
We're going to be the founders of Apple and Google and Microsoft and Netflix. We're going to be the CEOs of all the theme companies I just named. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we got to continue to make sure we know it's a thing and make sure we know it's happening in our community, man.
I love what you shared. I want to know from y'all. First I'll give my take, but just to know that I also want to know from y'all in the comments. Let us know what you think. Do you believe that we're at a space now to where there's no longer an excuse? Or maybe you want to word it a different way. Feel free to word it however you want to word it, how you think about it. Mm-hmm. I know, just to give my take on it, because I had you give your take, and I definitely want to give my take. And I'm actually going to change the way I thought about it, because you said something that made me think about it differently. I do believe we have excuses. We have reasons because we have opposition.
Right.
So if someone wants to have excuses, the excuses are there.
Easy. It's easy. You can think of your own excuse.
Yeah, for real. At the same time, I think because of what you've done, what others have done, and it's bigger than us. There are people that paved the way before us.
100%.
There are a lot of hidden figures
100%.
that have been in the industry.
100%.
Because of that, we also have excuses as to why we do belong as well. So it's just pick your excuse. Mm-hmm. Do you want to lean on the excuse as to why it's not going to, or you want to lean on the excuse as to why it is? It's really up to the individual. And again, that's my take. I'm not saying that's fact. That's my take. Let me know what y'all think about that.
I would double down on what you said though, and also say you have to have a mindset to go in spaces where you're not and be successful. Yeah. Right. You can't go into a space and not be ready for the potential. Right. Battle ahead. Potential. Yeah. Because if you're the only one that look like you in a space, man, woman, female, male, any gender expression, you got to represent a body of people. And when you represent a body of people, sometimes you got to be ready for the battle ahead. And if you're not, you fold. That's right. Right. So when you think about, black people in the tech space, you think about, well, it's gonna be a journey. Yeah. And we always talk about the navigation of the situation because it's not a straight path, because it's not enough that look like us. So when we talk about does people have an excuse, I mean, we're only 6% of the tech space, but 13% of the world, of the United States population. So we're still far behind. And then the more you go up in tech, the less of you it is. Yeah, true that. You know what I'm saying? That way now, that's why all of us broke out and said we're going to find our own stuff. We're going to be the founders of our own company. We're going to, and stop playing the game and the rat race to everybody else. Microaggressive behaviors, tension, at work, not being able to be your full self, right? And then that's why we start breaking out and doing other stuff, because why would anybody want to be in a space where they have to deal with it every day? Yeah, that's true. That's what I mean? So the excuse is either I'm going to be mentally tough, and it's not everybody's journey, but I'm overgeneralizing, so I recognize that. But am I going to try to be mentally tough and fight my way through it? Am I going to say this ain't for me, I don't care about it? Or am I going to start my own space? We got 3 different options. That's true. That's real. Which one are you going to choose? Yeah, right. What you going to choose? Yeah. Choose ye this day. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So Thrive 2023 is coming up this October. Ooh. Real soon. Ooh. Next month. Let's do it. 40-something days. Tell people, as we wrap up, tell people what they can expect at Thrive 2023 in Fort Lauderdale. Hey, listen, we at the Western Fort Lauderdale Beach. All right.
It's nice out there.
It's nice. 30 steps from the beach. You can get an amazing experience because we got a group of men and women that's coming in that's going to not only drop gems, but also give you actionable things for you to be successful. The main thing about Thrive, and that I pride myself on in the team, is that we give people actionable steps that you're going to activate in a recruiter row area where you're going to see over 15 sponsors this year, right? At the same time, we have this space called the Resource Center where we helping people with their resumes. Last year, 3 people got offers from the conference from a scout, not even from an actual sponsor, because he saw that much in the individual. Wow. And he accepted the role immediately. So you're not only going to get speakers, you're going to have a good time, man. We got a yacht party this year that's going to be absolutely amazing. Our brunch for the boss. I just signed the paperwork today, so I'm announcing it next week. Ooh. Of our brunch speakers.
Well, you can say it because this ain't gonna drop until a few weeks from now anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep this on the rule. So David Banner is our brunch speaker this year. David
Banner. Oh, that's crazy.
David Banner, and it's gonna be absolutely amazing, man. He's gonna drop amazing gems. Last year we had Ross. The year before we had 2 Chainz. So we're gonna continue because it has to be the inspiration of culture and tech. And I feel as though David Banner is going to give us that inspiration and that culture needed to be successful. So I'm super excited about what's going on. So October 19th through the 22nd in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. You want to be at Thrive because Thrive is really going to change your life.
Hey, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be speaking.
I'm gonna be there. Learn about you're gonna be podcasting too.
Podcasting, artists. Hey, look, I'm gonna be there. So
I'm gonna be doing video.
Hey, listen. Honestly, Eric just set himself up because I was gonna ask him after the show. Hey, you gonna this coming down to South Florida? This coming? Because you know you live down there, right?
Okay, I live there, yeah.
But you never invited me to your house yet. But it's cool. It's cool.
Wow.
We friends though. We friends.
Wow.
No, this is the vibe. This is the male vibe you want in a room. Yeah. Hanging out, man, laughing and joking, you know what I'm saying? And being people, but also, talking that talk,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much for coming on, bro.
Hey, man, listen, I'm glad you invited me. I'm glad, man. It's absolutely fun. Good time.